This video is for the final ranking, the game I caught up with most recently. What this one ultimately comes down to is this. Which game is worse, Unity or Odyssey? Odyssey seemed quite fun at first, with its fun gameplay loops. I didn't really get that with Unity. Unity remained consistent in its quality and enjoyment levels throughout, and I didn't really consider how I would be playing Syndicate after I finished it. But for Odyssey, that's a different story. Canon was an issue from the start, so I, of course, chose Cassandra to play as. The cliffhanger from Origins was pretty much abandoned, and this is the first game I played after reading the Juno comic. Why a comic for such a main game plot thread? So I was soured from that experience as I started Odyssey. The first half of the game was enjoyable, mostly for the gameplay experience, but taking no fall damage was weird. Acting and story were miles below that of Origins, with a lifeless world to make matters worse. I gave Layla a chance, but in some places, her acting was just bad and dialogue was terrible. At least Unity could blame this on bugs, to an extent. Honestly, as I played through more of Odyssey, from the starting point of really enjoying the gameplay, I knew that others didn't like it. But I kept thinking that at least it was better than Unity. Unity was a cheap and easy shot as my least favorite game in the series so far. So for me, I would reach a bad part of Odyssey and think, well, Unity was worse. In my mind it was true. Unity was less enjoyable. But was it? Let's move to my experience about 3/4 of the way through Odyssey, after finishing the Family and Atlantis questlines. Gameplay started to grow tiresome, in a world I started to care less and less about, as I switched off my mind for a mind-numbing, button-mashing game session. I appreciated the Atlantis questline, but it was probably the only thing I cared about. After long enough, thinking that Unity was worse became a defense mechanism. The more I thought it, the more it had to be true, didn't it? Unity was better than Odyssey, right? And look, that's a cool thing they put in the game. Unity didn't have those moments, did it? But it did. I was just in denial. I got through completing Odyssey out of being a completionist, but also because I knew that Valhalla was on its way. I knew that it was worth finishing if it meant I could start the next game, a game where the developers cared about old lore and new. A game where modern day could be much better. A game with an open world that I would explore, not out of some sense of obligation, but because I wanted to. So which was worse? Thinking about which game I would rank higher in enjoyment before recording this now, I kept flipping between the two. But now, after articulating my thoughts, there is no question, no denial, no defense. Odyssey is my least favorite Assassin's Creed game. After a quick break, I'll give you my prediction for Valhalla. Tomorrow, Valhalla comes out, and I will finally be caught up and playing a new Assassin's Creed game with other fans of the series. My journey will be complete. I'll try to put out a new video tomorrow, reviewing my initial impressions of my first hour playing through the game. But from what we've seen, I'll give you my trailer impressions. I've stayed away from mission gameplay where I can. Valhalla really might be the best game for me to catch up with. with the return of old fan favourites such as Jesper Kid, Social Stealth, Instant Hidden Blade Assassinations, Bureaus, and more. Valhalla will remind me of the start of my journey as I played the first game. It's also quite nice to see how shanty chases are back in the form of tattoo designs. I still haven't heard the soundtrack, but I'll listen to it when it plays tomorrow on the main menu. I'm so glad that the White Room is back, and modern day sounds like it's going to be awesome. I'm trusting Darby on this, as I'm sure many of you know that he said that loose threads will be tied up. Oh, and Sean? He's coming back and that makes me so happy. If done right, Valhalla could have character development, story, and gameplay on par with those of my most enjoyed games. I'm really excited to see a canon explanation for the switching between male and female Ivor, the conclusion to the reality as a simulation setup in Origins, a strong modern day, and more that I'll talk about tomorrow. Where do I think this will fit? I'm gonna put this where I'm hoping I would rank it after playing the game, which is probably how excited I am for it right now. Hopefully, Valhalla seems like it will be better than 3, maybe even better than Brotherhood and Rogue. I think we could be looking at a potential top 3 in terms of enjoyment, but I think 4th is more realistic. So this is my full ranking, with Valhalla as a potential ranking. Be sure to check out my impressions, which I'll premiere tomorrow. It might come out a bit late, but I'll keep you informed on my Instagram. The link is in the description.